President, thank you. Speak to the bill.
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, the genesis of where we are today with Senate Bill 680 began quite some time ago. The interest rates that the increase in rates that we're talking about are significant. And I know there are just a few of us that represent citizens in the Appalachian area, but I think it's important for all of Virginia to know what is happening in this regard. When the session began, it was about the time that the bills for the month of December began being received by Appalachian's customers. And it is amazing what has happened. Let me give you a typical example of a citizen I know in our community who is a retired teacher, who lives in a very well-built house, lives by herself. She is a widow, lives very modestly, hangs her clothes out to dry rather than using a dryer, has a heat pump in her house, leaves her house with very few lights in the house that she uses, cooks very infrequently, cooks small meals for herself, doesn't entertain a lot of guests. Her bill in December was $130. Her bill for January was $587, an increase of over 400%. Now, I can tell you more examples than this, but this is one that I know very well. And I can tell you some that the bills are strikingly higher than what I've told you for this one household. When she sent me copies of her bill and sent me her position in the bill, the question she asked me: how can it be that my electric bill for 1 month is more than my yearly premium for homeowners insurance? And then I got information from property owners whose renters have higher Appalachian bills than they pay in rent. And let me say that again, that there are constituents that I have who pay more for their Appalachian bill each month than they do for their rent. I spoke with the head of one of our hospitals recently, and he said that his employees and his hospital are suffering greatly on the rate increases that are happening. He says that his hospital's account receivables have increased significantly, and that he attributes much of that to what's happening with the cost of electricity, because you don't have much choice. You either pay the bill or the power is cut off. Mr. President, Appalachian has admitted that in the last 3 years, the cost of a kilowatt hour of electricity has gone up better than 60%. That's happened at a time when the economy in Southside and Southwest Virginia has been in a steep decline. We lead the state in unemployment. We lead the state in job losses. Mr. President, the statistics, I believe, would be overwhelming that the number of constituents that I represent who make as much today as they did 3 years ago would be very, very small. By that I mean the average citizen that I represent earns less today than they did last year. Mr. President, the most concerning comments that I have received is from citizens whose Appalachian bill is now more than their monthly income. Let me say that again. That I have constituents who are Appalachian power bill is higher than their monthly income. and they just don't know what they're going to do. I want to thank Appalachian for making the concession to not cut people's power off and to work with citizens who cannot pay their bill. And there are many of the people that I represent that can't do that. And I want to thank them, as the senator from Russell has said. What's happening today is unprecedented, but I want to transfer it into real terms. The person I talked about with a bill roughly $590, this will be a decrease of about $530. But let's add that into the picture. 530 versus 130 in 1 month is still a dramatic increase in what it costs to have power for your home. Mr. President, there are real issues facing the Commonwealth of Virginia with regards to the cost of electricity. And let me just point out that some things this bill does not do. It does not change the fact that Appalachian and other utilities may ask for as many as 6 rate increases in a year. Many of those compartmentalized so that no real reflection, no real examination of the books as to what the rate of return is to the company. Mr. President, there are still provisions in the law that, it hasn't happened, and I hope it will never happen, that says if the State Corporation Commission reviews a case and finds out that a utility is overcharging, the utility gets to keep a part of that overcharge. Mr. President, we have also established in previous bills artificial floors below which the State Corporation Commission cannot go in giving relief to customers. That has not happened, and I hope it will never happen, but that's yet to be seen. I thank Appalachian for this small step, but I hope that we will all remember there is not a heck of a lot of difference between $590 and $530. And this relief is small, but Mr. President, a great deal needs to be done to make sure that customers of Appalachian and other utilities in Virginia are being treated fairly by the utilities. I thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. Senator from